This nation started on the path that brings us here today in the 1940s when we began producing and buying televisions. By the 1960s, about 60 million American homes had TV sets. But last year, we were over 250 million. In the 1980s, we began to acquire home computers and businesses. Universities and schools invested in personal computers. Between 1986 and 1990, around 28 million personal computers were sold in the U.S., and by 2000, that number had more than doubled. We all own and use these electronic products, TVs, computers, cell phones, MP3, DVD players, but we rarely stop to think about what happens to all these products once we're finished with them. Today, the amount we have to dispose of is in the billions. We know that many of these products end up in our landfills or are sitting in our attics and storage closets because we aren't sure what to do with them. Innovation in the electronics industry has produced staggering advances, and I don't think anybody would want to turn back the clock on this progress. But we could turn the clock back on something else. We would want to ask the engineers who began using lead in televisions to shield viewers from the X-rays and ask, how can we come up with something better? Because now in 2008, with the transition to TV signals fast approaching and better technology on the market, we have millions of televisions and monitors with untold tons of lead heading to the landfills. And these old products also contain toxins like mercury and cadmium. Fortunately, there is a growing awareness of recycling and going green. As we will hear today, e-waste is not just trash. These products contain precious materials like gold and copper, and it doesn't make sense to put gold in a dump. Over a dozen states now have legislation mandating proper e-waste disposal, and many electronic producers now offer take-back services. However, it's estimated that only 10 or 15% of these products reach recyclers. Clearly, much needs to be done to educate consumers about recycling and to make sure everyone has access to recycling. But raising awareness is not the only thing that can be done to tackle our growing pile of e-waste. Today, we will also hear about opportunities to design products to avoid end-of-life problems and to make product recycling more efficient and economically attractive. We must seriously look at the issue of reuse, and we find ways to safeguard against its downstream problems. We must also develop methods to adequately assess the economic and environmental impacts of e-waste and policies to manage it. This is a problem of global proportions. Technology and innovation have as much a role to play in solving it as they did in creating it. We don't want to stifle the innovation that has put the computer power of a room-sized mainframe into the palm of our hand, but we want to go forward with enough information and foresight to ensure that these problems, modern marvels, are not modern environmental problems.